How's it going, guys? This is Emrah Klimenta. Excited to join these guys here. Welcome to the State of Republic podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Republic podcast. Today, I am actually joined back. Feel like it's been so long, man.
Too long.
I'm joined back by my co-host, co-founder of State of the Republic podcast, Michael. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Good to see you. It has been too long. It's been a few episodes now, a couple weeks. Just been busy with the holidays and the kiddos, but got it all set up. I think we're good to go. How you been?
I've been pretty good, keeping busy with, of course, this podcast. I have other podcasts, as I've probably mentioned at one point as well, and really enjoying this new year. And hopefully, we get back to the stadium. It's what I always hope, and it's what I dream about. Already being out there in the stands, and so I hope that we'll be able to make it out there for couple of matches, but definitely that first match, whenever it is, whenever we're able to be there, we're gonna be there. But there's a seat with my name on it there. uh, well, we might be getting a special appearance here by our podcast mom. So just a heads up for everyone listening, for all you watching, if you randomly see Sharon just appear on the screen, don't be surprised. Like she might be making an appearance here, which will be great because she actually knows our guest really well, and she actually does really want to be on. So hopefully she's able to be on. But we will see as the interview goes on. So Michael, would you like to introduce here our guest tonight?
Yeah, for sure. So tonight we are bringing you Emrah Klimenta. Emrah, how you been, man? Doing all right?
Doing all right, guys. How's it going?
Doing well. Happy to have this conversation. Honored to have you on the podcast. This is a big one for me.
Happy to be here, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Again, I know it's been a while since you've been with Sacramento, but I know you have probably a lot to share. You've been with the team in like two different time periods, and I mean, I'm sure that it was really different being with the team in just two different eras that we will remember forever in our history. But I wanted to actually get started with you currently, right, in your current situation. We know you're with the San Diego Loyal, but I want to ask you, there's San Diego. You had an engagement, reconnecting with Warren Smith, coached by arguably one of the best players in this country, Landon Donovan, uh, the beach in San Diego. Where do you want to start? Like, what do you want to start us with? Catch us up
Well,
on what you've been up to.
yeah. Well, first of all, probably just put it out there, but I'm actually not with San Diego anymore. Um,
Oh,
Currently a free agent, looking for teams and talking to a few. So just getting that off the bat. But
Wow.
no, I mean my time in San Diego was great though. Obviously it was short lived. You guys all know business is business, and especially in the world of sports, the way things go and the way things are is a little more cutthroat. I'm sure a lot of other businesses are, but my time there was great. I mean, I had a good time. You know, reuniting with Warren Smith, who I was actually sharing with Michael earlier, a story with him that was quite great. I'll share it with you as well. It was good to reconnect with him. It was good to be coached by Landon, meet him, pick his brain on a lot of things, and then also just being a part of a new franchise again, which was my second time being a part of a first year franchise. The first obviously being Republic. So there was a lot of similarities in the two. Obviously, Warren being there and knowing what he did the first time, and correcting the mistakes that might have occurred the first time around with the Republic. Everything was run quite smoothly. Um, of course, there's something happened that we couldn't control, which was the pandemic, and that kind of shut things down and kind of killed the vibe. But it was great, man. I mean, San Diego is beautiful. I don't know if you guys been there or not, but a great place to be. Great food, great people. All in all, it was spectacular. If I could have stayed there for another couple of years, I would have. But as I say, in this business, a lot of things are out of your control, and so. But it was good. It was good, man. I really enjoyed it. Lots of ups and downs, but I learned a lot. Met a lot of people. Things that with this career that I chose for myself is I'll be able to cherish and hold on and have all these stories and things to look back upon when I'm younger and talking to my kids in the future and all that stuff and telling them stories. So it was great. I enjoyed my time there. Short lived, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I gotta say I've been to San Diego before, and I like to share this story because I couldn't believe it, and this was before the Loyo came about. But it was I think 2-3 years ago that I was down in San Diego for the very first time, walking in downtown, sporting my Republic jersey. I think it may have been this one or another home jersey, and someone actually complimented me, and they're like, "Hey, that's a really nice jersey." And so ever since then, I'm like, "Yeah, San Diego's a cool spot." You got people who recognize really great stuff, and it was awesome.
Well, they say San Diego is, I mean, I don't know if it's self-proclaimed or what, but like soccer capital of the U.S. or something like that. I don't know if I don't know if it's those exact words, but they say the amount of youth soccer they have there and just people that follow it in general is just humongous. So I don't doubt that they said nice jersey, and that is a good looking jersey. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hate to hear that the free agency thing, but just as I was doing for Villian and Roro, Oakland Roots, we got a defender here who is available. He could play a little bit of midfield too. I've seen it personally. Give him a call.
I appreciate it.
I'm just
Appreciate
gonna
it.
throw it out there, man.
We're agents for the Roots now. That's the ongoing
No,
thing.
Michael is a part-time father,
I'm just
part-time podcaster, and now he's part-time
I'm just taking
agent.
5% off the top. 5% off the top, and we'll call it good. I'll hop on the train, catch a game. That's gonna be my team away from home out there. I love what Oakland's doing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean they are doing some great stuff there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's a possibility. I'll say this openly. It's one of the teams that I'm definitely that I'm talking to and I'm interested
Not
in
too far from
going to.
home. Sure.
15, 20 minutes from here. Yeah.
Nice. So we do pride ourselves here at State of the Republic, discussing some of the lesser known leagues, some of the academies in the area. Um, East Bay United, the Mustangs, before adventuring out to Europe. What is this I hear about in Slovakia? You might have been playing for free for a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, not for free. I was just not getting paid. So
That's
for free, yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean countries like that, I don't want to say run by mafia or by that. I don't want it to haunt me in any which way. But so when I was 17 and a half, I was playing for Mustang. I was playing high school ball at the time, and an agent reached out to my dad. He's a Bosnian fella, and so I'm obviously from Montenegro, Serbia, which was all part of Yugoslavia at one point with Bosnia, Slovakia, or Slovenia, and all that. And so he reached out to my dad and said, "Hey, I came across your son because I had a bunch of like little highlight tapes and this and that my dad sent out to a bunch of agents. He would just go on FIFA, see all the people from our region, from our countries, and he would just send out videos, right?
that's awesome.
And so this guy, yeah, I mean, my dad was acting as my agent, if you will, and so he reached out to my dad, told him, "Hey, I'm interested in your son. Uh, would he be interested in coming out to Slovakia to try out for this team?" And so my dad asked me about it, and at the time I was winter break, so it was December of 2008. And I said, you know what? Why not? I'm not doing anything for 2 weeks. Let's do it. So ended up going to Slovakia. Ended up training with MSK Žilina, who are a pretty big club in Slovakia. They've played in Champions League before, played in Europa League, qualifications and all that. And so went over there, spent 10 days. After the 10 days, they said they liked me, offered me a contract. I came back to the States, and then I needed one class to finish high school, right? It was econ. Everything else I had credits for. I needed econ to finish high school, and luckily a teacher of mine was willing to do it via online, via Skype and all that stuff. I got the book, and I was able to complete that class, thankfully. But I packed my stuff up and I left. January of 2009, I was in Slovakia and settled into my apartment, everything, started training, all of that, and I didn't get paid the first month. So I'm like, okay, something's weird. Didn't get paid the second month. So I'm like, all right, something is definitely off. So my dad, calls my agent at the time and tells him, Leo, what's going on? You got to sort this out. Like, my son needs to get paid. I'm not going to be sending him money every month for him to be able to feed himself, type thing, right? And so, yeah, they said that really weird. They said that they never actually, in the Slovakian Football Federation, the process never went through completely. So I was signed for for Žilina without actually being signed with them, without it actually being approved and gone through approval and all that. So I was basically there just training and thinking that I'm gonna get to play on the weekends, but I didn't because my contract wasn't really valid. So 2 months, 2.5 months of me not getting any pay and not technically being signed to them. My dad flew over and told him, you know what, you guys did my son dirty. You'll be hearing from us. And my dad took legal action of that, and I left. From there, I went to Germany and met up with another agent that actually reached out to my dad as well, and kind of just went from there.
Oh, yeah, that's man, yeah, sorry for you to have to go through all that. Like, man, that's got to be complicated to go through all that situation. But fortunately, you guys took action real quick, and good thing your dad was like really involved with all that because yeah, that must have been a big mess there. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Serbian or Montenegrin parents, but they're crazy for their kids, and just in general. I mean, I don't know. You guys know Ivan Mirkovic is. If you guys want to do
yeah.
if you guys want to do a podcast with him, he's in Sacramento. He's available. You'll see what
Growing up in
like.
Serbia, Montenegro, I'm sure a little club telling you're not going to get paid. Your dad's dealt with worse, so
Oh yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
man, this is easy. I'm gonna get that money.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, everything worked out in the end.
Yeah.
It was just part of the journey, man. I mean, like I said, I told you, Michael, everything that I've kind of gone through in my career, I just kind of take that in and I use it as storytelling or something that I could take with me, and it kind of shaped me to be, as cheesy as it sounds, the person I am, but also the player I am, right? Learning from your mistakes and from the past and all that. So
So let's go back to your last season with the Loyal. Again, it was their inaugural season. You probably got a flashback back to the Republic and all that and whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit more about those two last matches that they had and the situations, right, that occurred with the team and all that? Tell us more about what happened during that time.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a crazy year to begin with, right? Inaugural season, we were all excited. First home game, sold out, great atmosphere, all that, and just for COVID to hit, and the shutdown, and then restarting, and just everything in general. And then what a way to end it, right? With those last two games, like you said, games we needed to win for a potential playoff spot, and then games that just kind of turned into a bigger issue that we're just dealing with, not just in football, but in sports and just in life in general, right? Against LA, we were playing really well. We were beating them 1-0 at the time. They knew if they lost, their chances of going to the playoffs and our chances of going to the playoffs were a lot higher, right? And so a little frustration came out. We got to the point where we were time wasting a little bit. We were doing just little things here and there to take up the clock. And so one of my teammates, Elijah Martin, ball went out of bounds. He kind of fell on top of it and kind of started cuddling it, if you will. The guy tried to get it from him, this, that. He wouldn't get up and, throw a racial slur at him. We didn't catch on to it. I obviously didn't. I was far away from the ball, but supposedly the fourth referee heard it. The LA Galaxy coaching staff heard it. And then a couple of our players heard it. At the time, and I don't blame our teammates or anything, you don't know how to react to those things, right? Because those shouldn't be in our sport, just in general, shouldn't be said. And so there was a little shock with it, but at the same time, they didn't want to stop the game to cause more of a problem or whatever the case may be. And so after the game, we ended up tying that game. We ended up going into the locker room, and Elijah was really frustrated because he had ended up getting a second yellow and a red that game and sent off. And so when we got back into the locker room, we were quite frustrated. But then we were a little happier because we saw the Republic beat, I believe it was Orange County. It was that game where you guys won in like the 90th minute or something, right?
Yeah, it was a comeback.
And so, right, yes. And so we're just kind of sitting there, kind of head down, all tired, this, that. And we just hear one of our other teammates, Elijah, say, "I can't believe he said that to you." And our captain at the time, Charlie Adams, heard and was like, "Said what?" And so this whole huge uproar happened. Coaching staff got involved. We ran over to their locker. We confronted them. They acted as if nothing ever happened. Oh, he's they started saying, "Oh, he's Mexican. He's from the hood." Like, that's how they greet each other, this and that. And we're like, that's not right. It doesn't matter. He doesn't know him. He can't just flat out say that to him. And especially if he said it with the hard ER, right? And so it was just mess. It was just a mess. But our team, San Diego, took action accordingly, and it sucks. You never try to ruin a player's career or whatever, but the guy got released, and I don't know if they got fined or what happened with that, but literally a week after that, that was on Wednesday. We didn't play the weekend. We played the following Wednesday against Phoenix. We're at home. We're pumping them 3-0, 3-1, whatever it was, just outplaying them. We're arguably having one of the best games of our season, right? We're just playing with confidence, excitement. That game in the 72nd minute, we were supposed to hold a banner with Phoenix. We all agreed upon it before the game that says, I don't know what it was word for word, but it was something to stand up against racism. So it was like, I act, I stand, something like that along those lines, right? And so we're winning 3-1. It's on the brink of halftime, and one of my teammates, who ended up being one of my favorite guys on the team, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but he might be the only open, active, gay professional in all the major sports, right? And so Junior Flemings and whatever, if you will, Jamaican, I don't know if that's proper language or term or whatever, called him a homosexual slur, right? And he said it a couple times. And so Colin didn't want it to blow up. Colin didn't want it. Colin paid it no mind, because Colin said, "I've been called that before. It's not something, that's new to me." He goes, "I pay it no mind anymore. I am who I am. I'm loved by people. I'm loved and respected by people. I'm respected. I don't care what an opponent is going to say, especially out of anger." But he brought that attention to the referee just to tell him, right? The referee thought that Colin was calling the referee that. And so the ref ended up giving Colin a red card, and we all swarmed him, and we're like, "What are you doing? That's not what happened. This is what happened." And so he took away the red from Colin, didn't give anything to Junior Flemings at the time. halftime, we end up going up there, and Landon's like, guys, do what you guys want. It's your team, but I'm telling you right now, we'd be the biggest hypocrites if we do not walk away from this match, especially if Junior doesn't get a red card and get sent off. He goes, in the 72nd minute, we're supposed to hold this banner that says that we're going to take action and we don't stand for this kind of crap, yet we're going to continue to play a game where something like this happened again. And so as a team, we came together and said, if the referee doesn't send off Junior Flemings, we're going to walk off. And I was proud. I was proud to be a part of the team at the time. I was playing. I was on the field, and I said to myself, you know what, man? To hell with playoffs. This is kind of a bigger thing. This is kind of what society has accepted for a long time, and it shouldn't be around, especially in sports, right? I understand it's a man's game. It's of that sort and everything, but saying these things is I mean, it's 2020, 2021, right? It's not like these things have to be out of our sport. I know it's never going to be out of our sport because there's just people out there that have different mindsets and all that. But at the same time, it's like if you can do something, if I can do my part, whether it's this much or bigger than that, I've done it. And we all came together, walked off the field, and the amount of coverage that actually got, nobody expected, right? I mean, Colin himself was like, holy crap, the next 3-4 days he was on his phone like this, just 24/7, was on Good Morning America. I mean, ESPN wanted to interview him. Just all these different venues, like huge venues, like reached out, and he said he was just so overwhelmed with love. Obviously, also, like I said, idiots out there, the hate was spewed as well, but it was just crazy. And I've gotten so many phone calls and text messages and questions about that. That people saying like, "Hey man, proud of you, happy you guys did that, happy you guys took a stance. You guys are doing this for the greater good of the sport. Like, well done to you, this and that." And so, like I said, business side apart with what happened with me not being there anymore. I'm proud to say I was a part of the inaugural year of San Diego, and what we did off the field, I think, speaks a lot more volume than what we could have done on the field.
Certainly, yeah. I commend and applaud you guys for that. That's it. You put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, as far as you showed that it's bigger than the sport, that you're really in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, you work your whole life for these opportunities, for championships, and to have playoff opportunities on the line, and then to take a stand like that. It could have been very easy to be like, yeah, well, we would, but we're trying to go to the playoffs. You guys had a built-in excuse. You didn't use it, and you marched on. I applaud you guys for it. I commend you for it. That was awesome. I was very excited to see that.
Thank you.
So we actually have Sharon on, and she's going to be here connecting here in a couple of seconds. And so we'd like to welcome Sharon, a podcast mom, to the podcast.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Em.
What's up, Shaz? How are you? How you doing?
It's funny that you would call me that because I'm good, you guys. It's funny you would call me that because Shannon Gomez's nickname is Shaz, right?
No, it's not. You're the original Shaz.
See? And that's what I put on my Venmo, the original Shaz. So if anybody Venmos me.
Love it.
Anyhow, so it's so good to see you. You have no idea. I just want to pinch your cheeks. And then I'd probably end up getting my windshield wipers flipped up on my car if I did something like that to you.
Maybe even worse now. I've got more jokes.
I know you would. You probably have learned a bunch more. The dollar bill across the floor, that was the best. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. I just, Em, given your background, I'm going to kind of jump back a little bit into the previous question, being Montenegro and speaking Serbian. Did you ever experience, racist or bias towards you or anything like that when, in your soccer career or in your schooling? Did you ever experience anything like that?
No, Not really in the sport, right? I think when I first moved to the States, not knowing English, obviously, being in, ESL, and all of that, and just being a foreign kid there, also the way I dressed because I came from, a different country, and just very out of place. Obviously, I got weird looks and all of that, but uh, I never shied away from who I am as a person, even now, right? I know when it's time to be serious. I know when it's time to joke around. I know when, I can sense those different times to act accordingly. But who I am is who I am. I'm proud of who I am, but I've never personally been, abused, whether it's racially or profiled or this or that. Which, I can say I'm thankful for and all of that, but uh as I was saying earlier, with society nowadays, there's a lot of people out there that, are targeted and are abused because of what they look like or who they are, and it sucks. It's terrible, and especially when it happens to someone that you know personally or close to you, it's even worse. But personally, no, I've never really been abused for what I look like or where I'm from. Obviously, joked about. People always joke. So you're like Russian, right? And no, I'm not Russian. So those are a few of the jokes that have been thrown my way.
So sticking with Montenegro, darling, because I never really heard this answer. Being that you had a chance to that you did play for the Montenegro national team, how did you get recognized for the national team there? And then, on that, what was it like your professional squad to fly across the globe, and follow that opportunity, which is like every player's dream to play for a national team?
Right. Can you guys hear me all right? My headphones just died. We're good? Okay.
I can hear you.
So, well,
How'd you get discovered? Yeah.
So my agent at the time, right? So my agent would obviously always send, my tapes or reach out to whoever the national team coach was. And um, obviously I tore my ACL soon after my first cap there. But, at the time, they were just it was only friendlies. They were kind of inviting guys who have been doing well and playing well for their respective clubs. And me being out in the USL, considered the second division of America, it was a lot tougher. But I got a chance. The head coach at the time said, let's bring him out. I like what I've seen, from watching. He's even watched some of the Republic games live, watched video, this, that. And, I got called up, impressed. The first game I actually played, it wasn't considered a cap. It was, excuse me, it was a charity match with the U21s and the first team. They do it every year, once a year, and they raise a lot of money and distribute it amongst different charities. And so I played a half with the senior team, and then I played a half with the U21s against the senior team because the head coach really wanted to see what I was capable of doing. And so I played 45 minutes at right back, and then I played 45 minutes for the U21s at D mid. And so after that, even some of the senior players like Mirko Vucinic, who I'm sure you guys know about, played for Juventus, Roma, legend. He came up to me and he said, "Hey man, I really like how you play, and the fact that you can play, right back and center mid." He goes, I'm really impressed. And, I kind of gained respect from those guys, and that gave me more of a confidence boost. And the rest of the time I was there, was really comfortable, played well, and then made my cap against Turkey, played the last, I want to say 15, 20 minutes in Turkey against Turkey, which was a great experience, And so ever since then, I was just on the head coach's radar. As long as I was playing consistently, as long as I was healthy, playing well, you're going to get a call up. When you're called up to your national team, you don't have very much time together, right? So the cohesiveness of the team is the way they do that is who's playing well, but you also call the same, let's say 22 to 24 players. If they're healthy and they're playing well consistently, you keep calling them up because over time you get comfortable with one another. We're not training together every single day. So calling up the roster of 22, 24 of the same guys in, you're already familiar with one another and how you guys play. And so I was on that 22 to 24 man roster list, if you will, consistently for a while, actually. Like I said, came back, played about a week and a half or so later against Seattle and tore my ACL in the 6th minute, which, was a setback, but I came back from that, and I was, thankfully called up again and continued to get called up all throughout, I want to say, till about 2018. End of 2018, rather.
Yeah, you've definitely overcome some adversity for sure. Jumping back to San Diego real quick, I know you briefly ran across it, but as an American myself, growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, there is Landon Donovan, and then there's everybody else.
Right.
What's it like? I know you didn't necessarily play the same position, but did he give you something you could pick up on, add to your game, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously I came to the States in '99, and so I started following Chelsea, as I said. I was following the Bundesliga prior to that because I lived in Germany before moving to the States. And so I remember when he actually signed with Bayern Leverkusen, when he was with Leverkusen, and then he had a stint with Bayern Munich. But, just being in the States at the time, his name was obviously always thrown into conversation. And he was the wonder boy at the time, right? And so as a young, aspiring soccer player, you're going to look at all the guys that are at the moment, that are 5 to 10 years older than you, not too much older than you, that are starting to make it as well. And so I started following him as well. And he was kind of surprised how much I actually knew about him. I knew that he wore the number 23 when he was at Leverkusen, and that's my favorite number. So a funny story, when he was asking me on the phone, what number do I want? He was texting me, and I just sent him a picture of, and I could share it. I'll share it with you, Michael, later via text. But it was of him in a Leverkusen jersey, or Leverkusen wearing the number 23, and when he was really young, right? And I sent it to him, and he put, "What's this?" And I said, "Well, it's you, but you said what number do I want? I want 23." And I was like, not because of you. I was like, but that's my favorite number. I said, but I do remember you wore it when you were Leverkusen. And he was, he was quite impressed and kind of shocked that I knew what number he wore and all that stuff. But just being around him, just being around that presence, his way of thinking, he first meeting, he told us a quote that he kind of lives by, and not just throughout his soccer career, footballing career, but throughout just life in general. He said, what was it? Everything you do, how you do, or something about along the lines of everything you do is how you do it, or something, in the sense of everything you do reflects directly back to you. How you do it reflects directly back to you and your team. And so he lived by that and by the concept of, be respectful, be mindful, be a good person. And he said, if you can't be those things, you're not for San Diego. And he goes, the people that we've chosen to be on this team are not only great footballers, but also great people. He's like, don't think we haven't done our research and asked people about who you are as a person, or look through your social media or things of that sort, right? On the field, though, you can still see he's got that magic. He would hop in for some 5v2 once in a while. People would test them, would kick the ball up in there and say, LD, how's your touch? And he would just bring it down, and all that, and just look at you, wink, and walk away. And so you could just tell, he would also do some running and some sprints after the game or after practice with the coaches, or he would jump in and do some sprints with some of the guys. And I mean, he's still fast as hell, got that perfect running form. So it was good, man. And like you said, yeah, we don't play the same position, but I picked up on a lot of little tendencies. He always worked with the forwards. He would always stop and he would work directly with the forwards. And he would use me as, not a dummy, but he would use me as a defender to show forwards how to check to the ball, how to hold up, this, that. And so I have a pretty cool photo of where he's showing one of our forwards how to hold the ball up, or how to, go about his first touch, and I'm the one guarding him. And so I think it's a very cool photo that I'm very happy that was captured. But it was great, man. He's obviously new to coaching, so he kind of took the back seat in a sense and let the assistant coach Nate Miller do all the coaching and preparing and all that. But he definitely interrupted training sessions a bunch, and spoke to us, spoke to the forwards, the attacking players mainly. And I think towards the end he really got through to them, and we were clicking on all cylinders, scoring goals and having fun. But he was great to be around, just picking his brain, talking about your favorite moment when you were a player, where did you enjoy it the most, just asking him questions that you don't know if you're going to ever be able to ask someone of his status, if you will. So it was good. I'm definitely happy with that. And we became as close as a player manager could become. We've chatted about life in general. He's such a cool guy, very calming voice, doesn't really get mad very much when he talks to you. It's very soothing, if you will. He's just a good guy, honestly. Didn't know what to expect, but you get nervous in the beginning talking to him because you're like, oh man, this guy is a soccer legend, U.S. soccer legend. But quickly you realize he's just a normal person like everybody else is, and you just have great combos.
It's so sweet to hear you talk about Landon Donovan that way, and how, he would even get on the turf and play with you guys. One thing I remember about him, and then I'll ask you another question because you have a way with managers, is he was like one of the few players that I ever saw when he was playing for the Earthquakes years ago in the early 2000s. He would pass the ball to himself because he was that fast. I mean, literally would just like he'd get it past a player and shoot it, and it was like he just ran onto his own pass. So anyhow,
Right.
Crazy, and I'm sure he still does that. That was one of his signature moves.
I mean, he's so rapid. It was unfair, especially when he was younger.
Yeah, well, he has good foot turnover.
Yeah.
He turns over quickly, and that was one of his claim to fame. So I'm actually going to take you all the way back to like 2014, almost 2013, but 2014. You did have a way with managers. You really are not shy, and it never shows that you lack confidence. How was it having Ivan, Nemanja, and yourself to hang with Preki? Did that kind of help the Serbian connection? Do you think, in the early days of 2014, kind of build a little bit of that base?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, of course, it's always nice to, be around people from your country, especially, same culture, same jokes, same like mentality, way of thinking, things of that sort. Obviously at home with my parents, I speak Serbian more often than I do English, and I talk to family back home quite a lot as well. And so having those guys around, they were my brothers. We always hung out together. Obviously Nemanja, even Ivan, they didn't have a car at the time. Ivan and I lived together in 2014 in the house, as you know, Sharon. And so we spent every single day together. I mean, I saw this guy more than I saw my parents, for the 2014 year. So we became really close. We, like brothers, as I said. Nemanja as well came in. He had a family, wife and a daughter. But whenever he needed anything, whether it was a ride to the grocery store or help with translating anything, whatever the case may be, I was open to do that. And I know you helped a lot as well. But it was a lot easier because I spoke the language. I could, translate things to them. And so I think it definitely did help. I mean, we created a bond off the field that, it kind of showed on the field, but we were all three alike, but also very different, right? So I've been in the States a lot longer than they have. So my mentality has changed a little bit to where my thinking is more so geared towards the way Americans, if you will, think, or whatever the society and culture out here is, right? For them, it's a little different. Nemanja was FOB, fresh off the boat. So his way of thinking was definitely the way people in Montenegro think. So it was kind of funny to see the way he went about certain things. They'd be like, "No, you can't do that. You can't say that." Like, why not? Who cares? It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's like, no, yes, it is. Here it is. You know. And Ivan would be kind of the not as Americanized, for lack of better terms, as I was, but he wasn't as fresh off the boat as Nemanja was. So he was kind of in the middle, and he was the one that kept us together at times, especially when frustrations and all that arose. But yeah, and then you add Preki to the bunch. He was definitely a manager where he would speak to you in Serbian, right? Especially when he was not happy with how you performed or with what you did at training sessions. So he would say it in English as well, but he would more so say it in Serbian for us to really know that he's pissed off. Because when he said something in English, you'd be like, dang, he's mad. But when he said it in Serbian, you'd be like, damn, he's really mad, right? And so then you're like, shit, okay, I gotta tomorrow at practice, I gotta really be tuned in, And so it definitely helped, but there was no bias in that. Like he wasn't like, okay, these guys are from my region, like I gotta take care of these guys, There was times where Nemanja got pulled off in the freaking 65th minute for not playing well as a center back, right? There's times where Ivan, got red cards because he was infamous for those. Got red cards and he would drill into him and he wouldn't, when he came back, he wouldn't play. There's been times that yourself, Shaz, Luis and Michael, I don't know if you guys know, or I'm sure you guys followed Sac since then, but since 2014, but there's times where, he'd call me out and say, you're not playing this weekend. You played like shit in training. And then, I wouldn't play the next couple games because whoever came in at right back for me played well. And so,
Dude, that was going to be one of my follow-up questions with you just in a little bit, because I was going to talk about that game at Hughes Stadium where you hung your head because you weren't starting and everybody was like, what happened with Emrah? What happened with Emrah? And it was exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing with that is it's that happened at Hughes Stadium and it was, in front of 20,000 people and I wasn't playing. And I said, man, this sucks. My family was there. My friends were there. It's the first or second game. I forgot which one it was. The OC Blues one, I think. Second, yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I think I deserved it. But I didn't realize it then in the moment that he did that on purpose. And this is what's brilliant about Preki is he plays these mind games that not to mess you up or to screw you over to make you think that you're a bad player, this or that, but to make you like that much hungrier and work that much harder to when he actually puts you in, it's easy. And I tell everybody up to this date, I've never had harder training sessions than with Preki. And it's not that we did a lot of running. It's just that he never went above an hour and a half, 90 minutes. But it was 90 minutes from one drill to the next. Yeah, get a sip of water from one drill to the next. And it was high intensity, go, 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 to where come Saturday, Sunday, whenever you played, the games were easy. You weren't really tired. You weren't really tired after doing a couple sprints or whatever, and that's why 2014 was such a good year. I mean, with the ball bouncing our way at times, us getting lucky, if you will. But I like to think we created our own luck. We were just we won it, and it was all due to everybody buying in what Preki had to say and how he, the games he played with you personally as a team and all that stuff and what he said. It just everybody got on board with it and we just went to we went all the way. So no, the Serbian Montenegrin connection was definitely there. Very thankful that I was, able to meet those guys and we still stay in touch. We're still really good friends. We all want to see one another prosper and succeed in whatever we do. And so I'm the only one that's still playing at the moment. So every time, I don't respond to their text messages, whether that's because I'm sleeping for a game or this or that, or I'm with my girlfriend. Ivan always bombards me with, hey, come on, man. We know that you're still, playing but don't forget about us little people, things of that sort. I'm just like, come on, man. But that's Ivan for you. He's he liked to joke around as well.
Man, we got to get the two of you on for Jeopardy. I swear to goodness, if we can, if that would be great. We gotta do this. I don't know if the guys told you about the Jeopardy early on, but you would be great. You guys,
You might have to let Ivan use his phone, but give him like a 25-second time limit to find the answer because he won't know shit.
Shots fired.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah. Okay.
so you're telling us that it seems like it's going to be a Billion versus Emrah then in the next Jeopardy, right?
I mean, what are the topics? Because Villian is a nerd, so he knows a lot of.
Dude, it's all
everything.
It's like all Sacramento. I pretty much designed the question, so I could make it so.
It's not like trivia like about, I don't know,
geography.
80s or well, geography I'm quite good at, but if it's all Republic or Sacramento stuff, okay, I'm in. I'm good. I'll
basic soccer-ish stuff. We'll figure it out.
I was gonna say you're gonna throw in some Star Wars and things of that sort in there. There's no chance I have any chance against Villian. That guy's gonna win, hands down.
Wait, the last game, one of the categories was James Kiffey.
That one I might win because I hung out with James almost every single day, not by choice most of the time either.
So let me ask you this: favorite coffee hangout? Do you remember his favorite coffee hangout?
Kiffy's?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know his favorite bar was Shady Lady.
You're right.
Yeah. He would, after every single game, you could find him there. Favorite coffee spot though? Pete's. Yeah.
Okay.
Pete's, and then that nothing bunt cake right next door to it.
I'll let Luis take over here. He has a question.
Well, that's a good combination, right? You get your coffee, you get your cake. Yeah, it works out. So going back to Preki, I know basketball is pretty big in Montenegro. Did you guys ever play basketball together? Ever have a match, or was he just solely focused on just playing soccer?
You definitely have heard something. You're just trying to throw me under the bus, huh?
Sharon tells us stuff, yeah, that we may have heard of it.
So
she's got eyes in the back of her head, man.
We went to.
She knows all.
We went to. What's that gym downtown? Capital. What is it? Yeah.
Capital City.
Right. Yeah. Sharon's shaking her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Capital Athletic Club.
Yeah, that one. We went. So we went there. I don't know why he decided to not go train. I think he wanted to give us like a active recovery day type thing. So he said instead of not doing anything or just jogging around or stretching, we're gonna go. Some of you can play basketball. You can play racquetball. Swimming. If you want to do some weights, some stuff like that, you could. So we get in there and Preki's talked himself up that he's a really good basketball player, right? He's a good shooter, this, that. He's a lefty, all of that.
The next Vlade?
I wouldn't go as far as that. So we get to the gym, right? We get to the basketball court. We're warming up or whatever, and then everybody can go do what they want to do. He has the basketball, and we're all like, let's see it. He's on the side shooting a three, and we're all like, he's dribbling, he's like dribbling, and we're like, oh, he can handle the ball somewhat. Like, who knows? He could actually be decent. This guy pulls up, and this is his shot. Like this. Like right this. He shoots it, hits the side of the backboard, and just comes straight back to him. And we just all start laughing, like, what was that? We thought you were good. And he's like, oh, come on, I'm not warmed up yet. And we're like, okay, we'll let you warm up. It was quite funny. To this day, there's people that just absolutely gas him for it and just can't believe that he was saying he's super good at basketball. He plays all the time. And then his first shot he takes in front of all of us is the biggest brick I've ever seen in my life. And so basketball is huge. Yes. Did we ever play as a team or whatever? I think there was one time when we went to Orange County. We got in like really late. It was just a messed up. I don't even know what it was. Instead of, putting our boots on and training, there was basketball courts right there. And we just kind of played, I don't know, it was a mess. It was like 6v6 or something like that, 7v7. It was the whole team. Some guys decided not to play, but we were playing, and we had a couple English guys and Irish guys, Tommy Stewart at the time, who don't know what travel or double dribble is. So it was hold the ball like this and just sprint and then try to make a layup. So that was as far as our basketball playing went. But no, Preki and I, we quite often talked about basketball. We went to Kings games all the time as well. The club was able to hook us up with some tickets, and we also went as a team quite often as well, right, Chas? So yeah, that's as far as basketball goes with the Republic squad, or with me and Preki or anybody. I did play in 7th and 8th grade, though. I will say that I was on the B team. Don't judge me, but I played. I played soccer. I played 2 years up every year. So I played with my cousin, who's 89 and I'm a 91. And so it was just a lot easier for us to get the training sessions and this and that. So when he was in high school, when he was a freshman in high school, they played high school soccer. And when I was in middle school, we didn't have soccer. We only had a basketball team. So I said, you know what, I'll play basketball. And I was honestly the guy that would just hustle and get rebounds and steals and annoy the other players. And then I would hit a three or whatever once in a while. Or if I'm open under the court, I miraculously hit a layup. And so they just knew me as the guy who would just defensively lock someone down and just run around, because I had that soccer stamina and fitness. But I love basketball. It's probably one of my favorite sports to watch. But
wait, Golden State Warriors? Wait. Golden State Warriors? What? Huh?
What do you mean, what? Huh?
Yeah. Right?
There you go.
I respect the Kings. I respect the
Gross.
Kings. I respect Michael. I respect the Kings. With Peja being on a team, Vlade Divac being on a team, back when I was younger, Chris Webber was one of my favorite players. So I have a lot of respect for the Kings, but, you guys kind of suck.
Vlade, Peja. Oh, man. Isn't that like sacrilege? You can't say that.
I mean, now you guys do.
Vlade could run for president right now and probably win.
Who?
Vlade Divac.
President of Serbia, maybe.
Of Serbia. I mean, you can't say stuff like that, man.
I don't know. It's very corrupt out there. So I don't know if he'd win.
That's fair. We won't get into politics on this one. Yeah. But going back to soccer, that is, you quickly became a fan favorite with the Republic. I'd say. Did you ever see it going that way for you? What were you expecting when you signed with the Republic?
Honestly, I mean, you guys know my story. I went from an open tryout to the invite tryout to getting a contract. I never played right back in my life. I was always a 6 or a 10 or an 8. I always played in the midfield, and so one of the tryouts, they needed a right back, and I was like, you know what, man, I just want to make the team. I don't care, where. And so Preki was like, anybody play right back? I put my hand up like an idiot, and he believed me, put me in there, and I did quite well. I was like, I'm just going to channel my, inner Dani Alves at the moment. And I was just bombing forward, crossing the balls in, cutting in, shooting, scoring, all that stuff. And they're like, him and Graham Smith, like, you ever played right back before? I was like, never in my life. They're like, you know what? That's a new position. If you want to play with the Republic, we're going to only sign you as a right back. So sure, why not? But did I think I was going to become a fan favorite, or did I think, things were going to go as planned? No. Did I always believe in my abilities as a player and all that stuff? I'm a very, like Sharon said, I'm not shy. I love to talk. I love to meet people. I was always, you guys, the fans, they came to the games. They, spent their own money to come to the games to watch us play. So, and the quicker you realize, like, it's second division in the States or whatever, but you are a pro, this is your livelihood. You are paid to play. The quicker you realize that, and the quicker you realize, these people on Saturday nights could be wherever else, but they decided to be here. I always took time after games to take pictures with people, to sign autographs, to chat with kids, all that stuff. And that's because I never got that experience myself when I was younger, right? Just moving around a lot and going to Bundesliga games when I was younger, you couldn't really go down and meet the players and get autographs or this or that, right? You could outside of the training grounds and wait like everybody does, but it's hit or miss if you meet one or not, right? And so for me, I was like, you know what? These kids are so excited. They look up to us. The least I can do is take 10, 15, 20 minutes to, you know, relax a little bit, sign autographs, say hi to people, take pictures, conversate a little bit. And so I kind of thought that just came along with being a professional athlete, you know, and especially with the love I received from Sacramento, from, you know, the club, the fans, all of that. I said, man, you know, this is awesome. This is, at the time I didn't realize how big and how great it was, because that was my first club in the States that I've played for, right? I've played for now what, Galaxy, Reno, San Diego, and I can honestly say that from 2014, I can't speak about it now because I don't know, but from 2014 to 2017, 18, it was just, we were all a family, fans, the team, everybody. It was just, I mean, it's like there was people I felt like I knew personally for a long time, right? I mean, there's people that I made friends with that I've have phone numbers in my phone book, that I've, you know, coached their kids, or I've gone to their houses and had meals with their families, and just became friends outside of the thing. And, you know, they don't see me, and I hope they don't see me anymore as, oh, Emrah Klimenta, the professional soccer player, or you know, Emrah Klimenta, Sac Republic's right back or center back or whatever, but they see me as Emrah Klimenta, our friend, or Emrah Klimenta, someone that we know, you know, personally. And so I, obviously I was very happy to have made all these connections and to be considered a fan favorite. And you know, a couple years back they did that, you know, best 11 of Sac Republic, and I was a part of that, and I'm very happy for that and grateful. And you know, I'm sure everybody knows, I've said it in the past, but every time I've gone out on the field, I've given my all, whether I played like crap or not. I would hustle, I would run, I would tackle, I would do everything I could. And you know, there was times where we won and things were great. There was times where we lost, things weren't great. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody stuck through it, and that's what I love about it. You know, it wasn't no, after a game you'd go in the comments and you'd see people saying, "Oh, number 23 was terrible. He's the worst. This and that." You know, it was like, it's all right, guys. You got him next time. You know, and to a certain extent, you love that. You know, and Michael, I mean, you're a Liverpool fan. In Liverpool, you play bad one game, your death threats and all of that, right? And so that is normal in Europe. You know, over here it's normal, you know, with LA Galaxy where I was, and things of that sort have occurred. But I just loved how Sacramento was, and Sac Republic was just like a family. It was tight knit, and that made it easier for me to one, enjoy my time there, play there, and be able to. I was so comfortable and so happy where I was that it was a direct correlation to how I performed on the field, and it helped me, you know, get the results, and helped me get this claim of you know, a fan favorite.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, right? I think it's something that distinguishes the city of Sacramento, because we see it with the Kings too, right? We were just talking about it right now. Like they don't do as good, but yet the people are always there supporting them, and
Right.
it's really cool. And you know, I know without a doubt when we join MLS, it's going to be the same way, and it's good because it takes off that pressure from the players to, you know, make sure that like you do good. But above all, I think as a fan, and Michael and Sharon could probably agree to this too, that like all we ask is for the team to really give it their all. Like you said, to be out there hustling, just like you were always. We always want players like that, and I think we've been pretty lucky in Sacramento that they've always had a good eye for making sure that they have players that are really going to give it their all, and are going to make sure that, you know, if we lose, we at least lose, you know, trying to win, and that's all you can really ask for.
Right. And I mean, I think, like you said, Sacramento in general, right? I mean, you ask a lot of Europeans, what's the capital of California? I guarantee you 90% of them would not say Sacramento, and maybe even more. LA, San Francisco, I don't know, right? So the fact that, you know, Sacramento is already kind of like an underdog in California, just as a city itself, I think, and then obviously with sports, Sacramento had that great run in the early 2000s. And then as of recent, it's just been an uphill battle. I think, I mean, that's great. It's like when they do win it, when they do make it and all that, it'll be that much more special. And I think with the Republic, it was the same thing, and the fact that we were able to achieve something great the first year, nobody, I don't think anybody could have guessed that, and the fact that that happened the first year, with the team we had and the way we played, it was one attractive footy. I can say that was probably the most fun I've had playing as well. But it was with Preki, especially, as I said earlier, you need to work your ass off every single minute that you're out on the field. And Graham Smith, there was one saying that I've lived by ever since Graham Smith told me this, and I'm not going to curse on the podcast, but he said, when you cross that white line, you have to be a mother, right? And so ever since then, like, he said, you have no friends on the field. He's like, it doesn't matter if your best friend's off the field. He goes, if you're on the field, he's like, you can't have best friends. You have to just want to win, and that's it. That's all that matters. You have to be a mother. And that kind of stuck with me, stuck with a lot of other people. And I mean, it worked out for us. Like I said, a lot of things went our way, but the soccer gods were with us. But at the same time, I think that we have to give the coaching staff, the people behind the scenes, the front office, a whole lot of credit, as well as us players who were on the field, who didn't really have to worry about all the other stuff that everybody else had to worry for us.
Yeah, no, that is always definitely a good thing to have and a key to success for any team. So Sharon actually gave us a little bit of insights and let us know that you were actually a little bit of a prankster, right, when you were with the team. And so, I thought, why not? Let's talk a little bit more about what that locker room was like, and also, just those away trips and all that. Do you have any like moments that can make us laugh, make the audience laugh, that you went through during your time with Republic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, building a camaraderie around with your teammates, and if you're close with one another off the field, on the field, you'll be able to see it, right? So I would always prank people, especially Sharon, whether she pissed me off or not. I would always put her windshield wipers up and close her side mirrors down. Especially the passenger side one, because she couldn't reach it when she drove. And I would get sometimes a pretty funny text, sometimes a pretty nasty text from her. But yeah, I mean, I like to keep it light. I would hide people's shoes. I would tie people's shoes together, or I would take the laces from their shoes. And you know how it would be laced up from bottom to top. I would lace it from top to bottom. I would
That's brutal.
I would in their little like water bottle things, they would think it's water, but it's like soap water or something like that. Just a lot of different things. On the road, you would when baggage, you would be at baggage claim, you would take someone's bag and hide it and just have them freak out, and you would get on the bus, they would think that it's lost or whatever, and they would just be down in the shitter. And then you'd be like, hey, man, here you go. And so just things of that sort. Sharon mentioned the dollar bill one. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram or not, but I posted it a week or two ago or something. But this was actually Wilson Nishaw's, or no, Tyler Blackwell's idea. That guy is one of the most clever guys you'll ever meet. So he had a clear string, right, that, I don't know, he got at the dollar store or whatever. He brought it with him. Hole punched the corner of a dollar bill and tied the string to it, and then put it in the middle of the walkway in airport. And when people would walk by, they'd be like, oh crap, dollar. As soon as they would try to go reach down and grab it, they would yank the dollar. And so we're like, oh crap, and some of the reactions we got were hilarious. Some people were actually quite pissed off. Some of them took it well. Some were like, pranksters. So I have videos of that I can send over as well to Michael, and you guys could share it with one another. But that away trips, Gabe Gissy didn't know how to swim. So I would tell him I would teach him how to swim, and I'd be holding him and just let go, and he would start panicking, thinking that he would drown, not knowing that he's at 3 feet. He could just stand up and he'd be fine. So, just things of that sort. I mean, nothing too brutal to lose friends, but just something to keep things light, to make people laugh, to make people forget that we have a big game, or that we just lost the game or something like that. There was definitely some guys, after losing the game, they would take it so personal. Ivan being one of them. I can say this openly. I know he won't get mad, but he was one of the guys that took losing so to heart that I respected him for it, because it was like the next day what he would do is he would watch, not even the next day, that same night till 2-3 a.m. he would watch video. He would write down the times where he would mess up. He would write down the times where other guys would, do stuff that we said we would work on, but we didn't do, and all that stuff. And, he was one of those guys that he was just crazy about just football in general, soccer in general. And so I would always try to joke with him, prank him or do something to keep it light. There was times where he took it very well, times where he didn't. So there was one of those guys where like hit or miss. But everybody else, for the most part, they took it quite well. And like I said, I don't think I'd claim the prankster title, even though I was probably top 2 there. But I think Tyler was one of the big pranksters when we were there together. I think 2014 it was definitely me. And then I think when Tyler came on board, it was Tyler. The English guys, they had their own banter, which a lot of people did not understand and a lot of people did not like. But for me,
English joking is weird.
For me, the funniest thing ever. I loved it. And so, but speaking of pranking and all that stuff, the person that's the biggest prankster I've ever met in my life in the world of football, soccer, and he might not be the most fond person to Republic and Republic fans, Corey Herzog. This guy is on the next level of pranking and joking around. He told me in St. Louis once he brought donuts in for everyone. He used to do that quite often, bring in donuts or other things like that. And he said one day he's like, I was just in a giddy mood, just happy, this, that. I think it was after a win, blah, blah, blah. He went and bought a bunch of cream-filled donuts. He sucked out the cream, or got the cream out, and filled a couple up with sour cream and a couple up with shaving cream, and brought them in, and then filmed people as they bit into them and to see their reactions. And he said there was a couple guys that gagged, almost threw up. Donuts were flying at him, things of that sort. But I thought that was pretty clever and just and fantastic. So
that is so next level. That's borderline.
That's something that I would never think of doing. But that's how this guy works. He's 30 years old, has 2 kids, but he's a 30-year-old living in a 12-year-old's body, or 12-year-old's mind. But that it was when he told me that, I could not stop laughing. And so he brought in donuts once, and luckily none of them were the cream-filled ones. They were all normal ones, and I said, okay, whatever. But yeah.
Wow. Well, nicely played by him, right? Sometimes they were normal donuts, and other times they were the cream-filled ones. And damn, that sucks.
So speaking of somebody that you probably never ever pranked because of the way you guys had a rapport, maybe you did, Katie Norton. You two developed like this incredible relationship because of your ACL situation. Tell me what she means to you. Katie Norton, if you ever got close enough to the club to know what she meant to the club, being, the doctor of physical therapy, and it's just, what advice would you give to a player going through an ACL or a serious or season-ending injury, knowing the experience that you had, like with Katie and doing the rehab and all that other stuff? What would you say to somebody, or just run that by us?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Katie is arguably the kindest, sweetest person anybody could ever meet, right? she's got just this aura about her that, you know, like a mother figure, older sister, you know, type thing. Obviously we became really close early on. I mean, I was invited to her wedding 2014, right? End of 2014 year, because you know, I would joke around with her. I would, you know, genuinely wanted to get to know her and who she is. I mean, she helped us out a lot. She was around us a lot. You know, she sacrificed a lot of her time to be there on the weekends as well, to help us out. And whenever you were injured, she would take care of you and get you on the field literally in no time, right? So to me, you know, my girlfriend doesn't like me having girlfriends. And so she made it. She gave me an approval with Katie, but no, Katie is arguably one of my really best girlfriends that I have or I have had. We still stay in touch to this day. We talk all the time. I go to work out at Results all the time still. I see her, but she's just the nicest, most caring person ever. As far as injury, my ACL injury goes, we spent a lot of time. I mean, like I said, even Saturdays she would devote a couple hours to helping me rehab to get me back as soon as possible and as healthy as possible. And so honestly, I owe that half of 2016 and beginning of 2017 before I came back. I owe it all to her. If it wasn't for her pushing me, you know, at times when I had no will or desire to work out or train, or I was like, man, this is shit, you know, to when times got rough, she was the one that would talk me through it. She was the one that helped me out. So without her, me coming back and being able to play at the level I played at again, and be even stronger and faster and more mobile and everything, is just, I mean, like I said, I owe it all to her, and someone that I'm gonna stay in touch with for the rest of my life. And you know, like I said, she was like a older sister to me type thing. But as far as season ending injuries go, as rough as they are, as you know, crappy as they are, and all of that, it's just all part of the plan, right? I mean, there's things you can control, things that are in your control, and then there's things that you just can't control, right? Me getting injured, I couldn't control that. It just happened. It was a freak accident. And the faster you realize that, the faster and sooner you realize that there's nothing you can do with what happened. You can't go back and redo that play or whatever the case may be. And the sooner you realize, you know what, it's going to be a long 7-8 months to a year, whatever it is, the faster you realize that, the easier it is for you mentally, right? There's going to be patches where it's going to be tough, where you don't want to wake up. You don't want, not you don't want to wake up. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to do anything. You're sore, your knee's hurting, or your ankle, or whatever your injury is. But if you surround yourself with the positive people, and if you make a goal and just tell yourself, you know what, my goal is to come back to play at this level again, to prove to everyone that, you know, I can still do it, to prove to yourself ultimately. Because for me at that time, it wasn't to prove to other people that, hey, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be the same player. It was to prove to me that I can do it. And not just that, but I can come back and be even a better player. I came back and I started playing a whole different position. I started playing center back because they were too worried about me being in too many one-on-one encounters and me re-injuring myself, right? So Paul Buckle put me a center back, position I've never played before. And I mean, it turned out great because I've been a center back the last couple of years, and I can say I can play right back, I can play center back, you know. But it just, you know, you just have to say, I got injured. Life is the way it is. It's how I'm going to move on. It's how I'm going to tackle this next thing. Just like I'm sure all athletes, everybody, not just even athletes, I mean, everybody, right? You have personal problems, family problems, job problems, this and that. The way you tackle those problems, the way you go about those problems, and the sooner you realize, hey, this is what I can do about it, this is what I can't do about it, the more at peace you will be with it, right? And so that's helped me not just with injuries and with football or soccer, but with just life in general. And so injuries are tough, man. If injuries never happened, we'd have some athletes from the past that, you know, could be labeled the greatest of all time, right? I mean, Ronaldo, fat Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. I mean, if he never got injured, who knows what would have happened, right? If hell, I mean, there's so many other athletes, right? If they never got injured, what would have happened, type thing. So, injuries are tough, but it definitely shows the mentality of the player and the person, and who's tough to really get back from it and be better for it.
Yeah, it's great that you have that outlook on it, because ACL tear is no joke. It could have been that could have been the end of it for you if you didn't have that mindset. So that's awesome. So we try not to cuss around here.
It was my second one as well.
Yeah, man, that's rough. I can only imagine. We try not to cuss around here and use 4-letter words, but I'm gonna drop one here. Reno. We got to talk about it here. Hate to see Reno. It's a dirty word around here. But we wish it could have been different. But things happen. It's a business. You did solid work. How can you tell us about the experience? How was that?
It was interesting. That if there is one word I can use to describe my experience there, it was very interesting. I mean, lived in a hotel for 6 months, right? Lived at the Harrah's, you know, which sounds terrible at first. Trust me, I thought the same exact thing. But then after a while, you don't really think about it, because you're training. I came back to the hotel at like 2 p.m. and then I would go hang out with a couple other guys, you know, and do stuff. I'd be in Tahoe all the time just because I needed to get the hell out of Reno. Biggest little city in the world, biggest little crappy city in the world. I mean, I did not like the city at all. If anybody that's from Reno is listening to this, or all the fans of Reno, love you guys. My time there was great. The football was great, everything, but I did not enjoy living there. I'll flat out say that, right? But the footballing side was good. I mean, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due, right? They've been in the league for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, been top 3, 4 in the West every single year, made the playoffs every single year, scored the most goals in the USL in the span of 3 years or something like that. I don't know, some weird stats that they have. The footballing was great. The style of playing, all that stuff, fantastic. I enjoyed that. But living there and all of that, it was interesting, you know. Just the team. I mean, the club folded, which sucks. Hate to see, just because they were doing great things, but great things on the field, that is. But at the same time, it's, you know, it was an affiliate team where at a certain point it was, you know, as a player, you're there, you're training Monday through Friday, and you're working your ass off for a Saturday game, and then San Jose send 3, 4, 5 players, one of them being in your position, that have to play because that's the order from the head coach up there. So then you sit out, or you're not even into 18. And then that happens more often than you think. And then you're just kind of sitting there and saying, well, I'm not playing, which I want to be doing. I live in a freaking hotel, which I don't want to be doing. And like, you know, what the hell? But to me, it was one of those things where whatever happened with, you know, me not coming back to the Republic after that 2018 season, you know, a lot of things happened with my agent at the time, which is a whole nother story that, you know, we could get into another time. But I wanted to be at the Republic. If I could come back to the Republic right now and be there for the next 1 or 2 years until they go MLS, I'd love that. Because if I'm realistically speaking, I want to play for another maybe 2 or 3 years max, and then start my life after football, right? I've got a serious relationship with my girlfriend. I'm thinking of the next stages of my life with her: engagement, marriage, kids, all that. And so, you know, football gets in the way of a lot of that. You know, there's a lot of people that have been able to do it with families, and you know, I commend them I commend them for it and respect them for it, but it's tough, you know, moving from city to city, especially when you have little kids and stuff. It takes a toll on you, and so I'd love to come back to the Republic and finish my career off there, but going to Reno 2018 for me, I told myself at the time, you know, you have to take a step back in order to propel forward, type thing, or whatever that saying was. You know, a lot of ways it wasn't really a step back. A lot of ways it was just a learning curve for me. It was just I had to go through that. I had to live that life for me to appreciate what I had at SAC, or what I had in LA, or what I had just in general, right? And how good you do have it at certain places, even if you think you don't. And so, yeah, living arrangement weren't great. The city wasn't great. The football was great, and that's what I was there for. I was there to play. I was there to enjoy my time playing. I met a lot of good people, created a lot of memories. I wasn't too far away from Sacramento as well, which is great because my girlfriend, you know, is from Sac and lived there at the time, and so worked there. And so she came out a lot. I came to Sacramento a lot. Seth Kasipoli, who's also from Sacramento, we carpooled together, and you know, we became good friends. Went to Tahoe a lot, as I said. So there's a lot of positive that came out of it, a lot of learning, a lot of growing up as well. And as much as I know Republic fans hate that four-letter word and that franchise and team, I know you guys are gonna miss that rivalry and the game.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know if you guys went to that playoff game in 2018. Where the Republic won it 3-1, I think it was. But, you know, I think at that moment I realized that as much as that, as much as Reno is a good footballing squad, that city didn't really deserve that team. I mean, that was a home playoff game, but it seemed like an away playoff game. There were more Republic fans there, and the Republic fans were way louder. It felt like a Republic home game compared to a freaking Reno home game. And for me, I didn't play that game, but it was one of those things where I was sitting on the bench and I was just saying to myself, like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not playing in this game because, well, one, the result that happened, I could say, yeah, I wasn't playing, so I wasn't at fault. But two, it's like, it's embarrassing, you know? It was meant to be a home playoff game and it wasn't. And so, you know, sucks that they folded, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, we are definitely gonna miss those rivalry games. I always like to say we celebrated those goals like no other game. I mean, they just felt different, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
able now to to like brag and all that too. But yeah, no, that game you talk about, like we weren't able to attend ourselves here, at least me and Michael here. But we've heard the stories too, and with the former Reno supporters group Los Unicos, who is now with the Sacramento Republic too, their situation, and they added on to having more away fans too, and so that didn't help Reno at all too, and so yeah, I mean there's a lot of issues there.
I mean, that
So,
situation was weird with the whole fans being split into three different. I mean, it was just a mess. I didn't even know that. I always looked in the stand and said, "Why the hell is there a cheering section there, and then, you know, in the outfield?" I was like, "What's going on?" And so, very unusual.
yeah, unusual things that happened there, but you know it was for the best. I think that they fall, and it was kind of coming already, but
Yeah.
uh, so for last question, and then we'll let you go here too. I know we've been keeping you on for a while, so thank you. I'm really curious. You know, after your first time with the Republic, you get transferred to LA Galaxy to the senior team. Can you tell us more about how that transfer came about, and furthermore, you know, what was it like playing for them? Like, did you? I think Zlatan was there in that year, right? Were you able to see him?
Yeah. How it came about? I mean, the year prior to that, Kurt Anulfo, I think. I forgot what his actual name was the head coach there. He had been the Galaxy 2 coach for a while, and I've obviously played against them and played well and all that stuff. And he was actually going to sign me the 2017 year. But I had just come back from my ACL injury, and he wasn't sure what kind of player I would be, how I was going to be, all these things. And he, obviously, his job is on the line as well as everybody else's is, and he didn't want to take that risk, right? Fair enough. I'm not mad at that or anything, I think that was probably for the best, me not going there right then and there, because that year, 2017 LA Galaxy was, I think bottom of the table, right? Michael's face. But yeah, played well the 2017 year with the Republic. After the year ended, I didn't have a team, right? I was obviously in talks with the Republic to re-sign and all this, but my agent got a phone call from Ziggy Schmidt. And so my agent, calls me and goes, "Hey, can you make it down to LA tomorrow to start, training with them for 10 days. This was in November. To start training with them for 10 days. They want to take a look at you, potentially sign you because they don't have, any right outside backs, or they need center backs and stuff like that." And I said, yeah, why not, right? So I packed up my stuff, got my car, drove down there. And so when I got down there, I obviously I started, training with the first team. They were still there just because MLS season was still going, and so those guys were still there playing. Some guys that were negotiating their contracts weren't. Ashley Cole, this that, but Gio was training, Jonah was training, Alessandrini, all that, and so I jumped right in, and I was training with those guys, playing 11v11 against Galaxy 2 guys and their academy guys that were still there and all that stuff. And Villian was actually there as well. I don't know if he's mentioned that to you guys, but he was my roommate at the hotel. I come into the room one day and he's freaking laying on the bed. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm here trying out." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. What's up?" And so, yeah, after the 10 days there, Ziggy called me into his office, said, I really liked what I saw. I knew what I saw in video. I liked, but it was good to see it in person. I'd like to, offer you a contract for you to be a Galaxy player. And obviously, I don't think anybody in their right mind would say no, right? So, I had the biggest smile on my face. I shook his hand, said thank you so much, 100% yes. Went back home. They worked out the contract stuff, this and that, signed, became a Galaxy player. Obviously, I heard rumors Zlatan was going to be joining, signing, on Twitter, all this crap, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no chance. Like, how that? I'm going to be teammates with Zlatan. Like, no way, right? I get there. I was already excited to be with Gio and Jonah and Alessandrini, Leggett, whose name has been thrown around and stuff. I was already excited to be in a squad. And the Galaxy, Galaxy, most arguably the best and most coveted team in U.S. soccer history. And so I was excited. I got there to Ashley Cole. I can't forget to mention him. Him and I got really close, and he was a super good guy, great mentor, really, really nice guy. Will help the younger players out a lot. Literally, you would not think that he's played where he's played and he's won what he's won, the way he acted and the way he was. But Zlatan came in. I remember the first day I met him, I actually have a picture because he had a photographer, not him personally, but one of the Galaxy photographers followed him around, I think 24/7 for the first week, and video and all that stuff. So I got a pretty cool photo of the first time I shook his hand. But you guys know he does play for Sweden, but his background, he's actually half Bosnian, half Croatian. And so when I said hi to him, I said it in Serbian. And it kind of caught him by surprise. So I shook his hand and I just said, "Kako si, moje ime Emrah," which means, "How are you? My name is Emrah." And he looked at me and he goes, in Serbian, he goes, "Oh, you're the guy, you're the Montenegro they've been telling me about." And I was like, "Well, what have they been saying?" And so ever since then, it kind of, we talked in Serbian. We communicated to one another in our language. we never really hung out outside of footy. He never hung out with anybody, you know. But he was a good guy, man. Everything that he portrays himself to be, or that he makes himself out to be, that's not who he is. You know, he even says himself. He always goes, "You know why I'm always talked about him in the tabloids, or why I am the way I am?" Like, no. He's like, "It's not because I'm arrogant." He goes, "It's because of this." He goes, "The more I'm talked about, the more I'm in the tabloids, the more my name comes out of people's mouths, the more people think about me, the more deals I get, the more people want me to be around them, or sponsored by them, or whatever the case may be." He goes, some things I say to reporters, he goes, are outrageous, I know. But he goes, it gives them something to talk about. It puts me out there as well, whether it makes me seem like
Smart
an
man.
a-hole. He goes, I've made my living through football, but I've also made my living through marketing myself. And so, you know, he would always throw things out there like, "Do you know who I am?" to certain players as a joke, you know, but he was always smile about it, or karate kick you, or, you know, pick you up by the freaking jersey and be like, "Hey," and then he would let go of you and start smiling. You know, it was just, he was a good guy, like genuinely a good guy, not cocky at all the way he makes himself out to be, or any of that. But it was crazy to be around him. Just, you know, traveling with the team, you know, being around him, just seeing his mannerisms, the way he still, you know, feeds himself, the way he treats himself, the way he goes about warming up, and what he needs to do afterwards, and this and that. I mean, he's a freak of nature just in general. He's an athletic person. I mean, he's 6'5" and just muscle, right, from head to toe. So I mean, he's just abnormally gifted, um, naturally. And so in the gym, he never lifted weights. He would just do core workouts, some mobility, flexibility type stuff, and that's that. He would always actually make fun of everybody. Him and Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole, what a legend. He would, after training on Tuesdays, we would have to go to the gym and work out, right? Lift some weights and stuff, just to upkeep, continue to maintain the strength. And everybody would just be working out. And Ashley would be on the bike with, you know, a cup of coffee and a snooze in his lip, just drinking and on his phone reading stuff and responding to, you know, Drogba and all these other guys that he has on his phone. And he'd be like, "There you go, good boy, good boy." And I'd be like, "Why aren't you working out?" He goes, "Lad, I'm 36." He goes, "Do you think I need to be lifting as much weight as that guy to be able to pass the ball 5 yards?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Why?" "Because I know how to pass the ball 5 yards. He can't." He just, you know, he would just be gassing. It was a younger player, and he would just be gassing him up, saying, "I don't need to lift weights." He's like, "I can play ball, right?" And so it was good. It was good being around those guys, good learning from those guys, good being mentored by those guys, and just, like I said, stories that I will have with me for the rest of my life, and be able to share with people around coffee, around a drink, or with my kids in the future.
You realize anytime you got a call, or you were on the bench, or you were in the 18 for LA Galaxy, you realize you have Sacramento eyes on you like crazy. I think I might have even snapped a picture of you on the television and maybe posted it and maybe possibly tagged you in it. I'm not 100% sure. I might have done that, but we followed you.
Yeah. So real quick story about his first game. Zlatan. I know we've been here for a while and it's getting late. I know Michael's got some kids he needs to put to sleep.
You're good, man. I can hear them. They're
Okay.
playing. They're great.
But so first game, LAFC is when he literally came. He arrived 3 days before that, or 2 days before that. Didn't even know if he was going to suit up or anything, but they had to suit him up, right? They had to, just for media purposes, just for all of that.
El Tráfico.
Right. Worst freaking name of a rivalry game in the history of rivalry.
I didn't name it, but yeah,
I know,
it's terrible.
but it is. I mean, it's terrible. It's so terrible that it's actually pretty good. But anyway, so I go out. Baggio Husidic, who's Bosnian as well, goes out, and so everybody's already sitting in the bench, and I was like one of the last people, me and him. So he sits down and I sit right next to him. He goes, "What are you doing? Get away!" I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Sit on the one next to that one. Leave that one open." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "You know who's the last person to come out?" I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Ibra?" He goes, "Yeah, let him sit in between us." He's like, you know how much video or how much camera time we're gonna get?" And I was like, "Come on, dude, are you serious?" He goes, "Yes." So I like moved over one and left that one. Zlatan comes out and looks at both of us and goes, "Really?" And we're like, "What?" And he goes, "I know what you guys did." He goes, "You could have sat here, but you did this on purpose." And we just started laughing. Anyway, the cameras were on Zlatan, but you could see both of us. And I'm over here just like, Zlatan is looking back, and I'm like, what is he looking at? Let me take a look back there. Just like trying to be super nonchalant about it. I'm looking at Baggio, and I'm just like, "Hey, good idea, buddy. Well done." I got so many screenshots and so many pictures. Like, "Hey, man, look, it's you and Zlatan. Like, that's amazing." And I'm just like, "Yeah." He just decided to sit next to me and Baggio. No big deal. And they're like, "Okay, cool." So, but no, I enjoyed my time there. Learned a lot, gained a lot of experience. Was able to get a taste of what MLS life is like. It was short lived due to many reasons, but you know, you go through things and sometimes they turn out good, sometimes they don't. But as I said earlier, that was a hell of a time, and to be able to share the field with Zlatan, which was short lived as well. It was only 35 minutes until he got a red card against Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
But it was great. It was good, man. Enjoyed my time with him. Like I said, hey, I shared the same locker room with Zlatan. I shook his hand. We became teammates and friends, and it's something that I'll hold dearly to my heart, and those memories that I've created.
Oh,
sure.
I gotta go back and check out that game. I'm like, I've seen that game a couple of times, but I gotta go back
I
just
mean,
to
that
see
game
you
was
right there.
crazy. He comes in and scores 2 goals, and for that comeback, I mean, it honestly, you couldn't have written it better, right?
Nobody would
Yeah.
have believed it.
No,
If you
exactly.
watch the movie, you'd be like, how fake is that?
Right.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
wild. I was in LA at the time, and we were watching the game on TV, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, how is this guy? Zlatan.
Yeah.
Just adding to the myth.
Exactly. And things of that sort is what continue to feed into who he is and his ego and things of that sort, because he says all these things, outrageous or not, but he ends up delivering on it as well on the field. I mean, the other day he just scored 2 goals. He just came back from an injury, and he's 39. So it's like,
taking outrageous shots against England and tossing it in the back of the net. And you're
right.
like, I don't.
Right.
And
I mean,
I failed geometry, but pretty sure that's not possible.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That guy's eternal. I don't know if he's ever gonna retire, but hey, keep on going, right? If he wants to be 50 and still playing at that level, man, never retire.
I mean, there's a Japanese dude that's doing it. He's 53 and he's playing professional soccer.
Wild.
It's crazy. So
he's in FIFA.
Yeah, if you can, why not?
Oh, I gotta check him out on FIFA. I didn't know that. All right.
Well, that got quiet fast. Oh, sorry. So,
well, we're letting you close it out too, because you weren't here at the beginning, so I thought I'd let you close it out.
That's
oh my
number
goodness. Emrah, it was so good to see you, and we're all so appreciative of the time you spent with us, and so glad that you were able to dive into all these situations. You shared with us the exact thing that people want to know, and they wanted to find out a little bit more about, all these times and these stories behind the stories. I think you've been one of our most perfect interview candidates. I mean, this has been a fabulous time. Yeah, I love you. Your mom and I are Instagram buddies, so I can kind of keep caught up with your family, and it's just the sweetest thing. You are, your heart is so big, and you're very protective of whomever has come into your life. Just like you said, we're all your friends, and we wish you well. And thank you so much for coming out on State of the Republic podcast.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. It
Yes,
was a
thank you.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
We've been live for what, an hour and a half, but it went by fast. I mean, it was enjoyable. I appreciate you
Definitely
guys.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me, and happy to help any way I can. Like I said, Michael, I'll reach out to some of the former Republic guys.
Definitely, we
And
appreciate
tell them
that.
they got to be on here, and maybe I'll join for a Jeopardy one of these days,
Get
and,
you in on
and
one of those.
Yes.
get that going as well.
Yeah.
Dude, you'll nail it as long as your buzzer is good.
I don't know. I'll buy one of those.
Quick trigger finger.
I'll just have my finger on it. Just
Yeah. I'll have to hit you up on some of those Ashley Cole stories. That's wild playing. I know you're as a Chelsea supporter. That's got to be crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, I didn't have my Chelsea jerseys at the time. I told him I'm gonna have my mom send it down, and I want you to sign it for me, and he said no. So
I would have been fangirling hard, even as a Liverpool supporter. Like, oh my God, Ashley Cole.
No, it was yeah. Well, I'll tell you some of the stories offline about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Emrah. And hey, if anyone from Sacramento, from the team is listening, I hope, we're able to get you back because, we could always use more defenders and especially experienced ones that, really
Republic.
know team.
No, I appreciate the marketing. Michael did it earlier. You're doing it now. You guys both just want 5% or what?
Whatever we can get. Whatever we can get.
No, I appreciate you guys. Honestly, like I said, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It was fun. Sharon, thank you for tuning in as well. It was lovely to see you. But like I said, happy to do this, guys. Happy to do it again, and happy to join the trivia or what do you guys do? The trivia or Jeopardy podcast as well one of these times.
Excellent. Love you, Em. Wishing you the best.
Likewise. Love ya. Thank you. Michael,
Luis,
night. Pleasure. Thank you, fellas. We'll stay in touch and we'll speak soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Good night. You too.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was an amazing interview. Sharon, Michael, thanks to both of you for getting that coordinated. Amazing stories. We could have gone here for over 2 hours. We want to hear more stories though. So we'll probably hear more.
This is Emrah. Emrah, I swear there's never a 5 minute with Emrah. It's never 5 minutes. It's always going to be like this. Emrah.
It was great though. I had so many questions. I was like, I can't ask that. I got to stop. We're going so long. I've got to stop. And it's like, this is so interesting. I want to know more.
Oh, me too. Especially now that he said that, like he got to play with Zlatan and all the LA Galaxy players from that time too. I mean, Giovanni, Jonathan Dos Santos. Yeah, I mean it's amazing.
Ziggy Schmidt before Ziggy died.
Oh, I mean, so Ziggy Schmidt. If there's Ziggy, I was like, all right, I'll cut out. So we're already an hour and a half in.
So before we close it out, whatnot, just one more reminder to everyone. If you haven't followed us on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at State Republic 12. Please give us a follow. You'll also be able to find out when we do the next live show, which by the time this episode gets posted, we might already have a date. We're trying to close out that date just so everyone can put that next date for Jeopardy Live on their calendar and set that in place. And so be on the lookout for that. And also when we post new episodes, that's another way to find out if you're not subscribed. But please subscribe too also. Also on Facebook, if you are a member of groups, we have a Facebook group called Sacramento Soccer Fans. Please send in a request to join. We keep getting requests all the time. Each day, it seems like I'm always seeing someone requesting to join. So thank you, everyone. That's really amazing. I'm really glad we're growing that community of soccer fans there. We are going to be posting more about anything going on in the community, soccer-wise in Sacramento, especially when the Republic comes back in season. So you definitely want to be a part of that group so you're able to find out anything going on with the team there as well. Well, with that being said, Michael, I'm really glad to see you again. It's the first time I see you in 2021, actually.
Yeah.
And so welcome back. Yeah, happy New Year to you too. And Sharon, thank you again for being on, and as always for helping us here with the questions, giving us some insights that we wouldn't know otherwise. And so thank you, because that really sparks an interesting conversation as we saw today.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Happy to help.
Some thank you. Well, also thank you everyone for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or actually watching us here for almost 2 hours. we thank you for sticking through, and as always for all the support you give to us. We really appreciate it. And please catch us in our next episode. We can't tell you quite yet who it'll be with, but it's going to be another interesting interview as usual here on State of the Republic podcast. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a great night.